Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the 3rd and 20 Dynasty Podcast. It's JT joined by Frank, Jake, and Lounis. Season 3, episode 19. We are on our way to the fantasy football playoffs. This is probably your last week if you're in like a standard league format like ourselves. So it is here, fellas. We are here for the playoffs. I'm just going to kick us off though with the news because we do have some decently big news. First off, Jimmy G, they thought it was a Liz Frank injury. Turns out it's not, just a broken foot or some kind of injured foot. Who knows? But now we have Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, starting for the 49ers. What do we think about this situation? How do we think about the pass catchers, CMC, and even, I guess, Brock Purdy?
I wouldn't feel like too discouraged. At least like it's one game, but I thought he looked okay as a game manager. CMC ended up with a good game. Debo did decent. I don't think it's gonna be one of those where it's like you can expect like an offensive explosion, but it's not like you're going from like Mahomes to him. Like it's like you're going from a good game manager to now like obviously he's a rookie and a later round pick. But I thought I thought he did decent. It seems like he understands the offense. I don't think it'll be like too crazy a drop off, honestly.
I just think Shanahan's going to make sure that he puts Purdy in the correct situations here. He's going to just make him, quick, easy throws to all these playmakers and in CMC and Kittle and Debo and Ayuk. He's just going to do short, quick passes, get the balls in his playmakers' hands and let them do the work, not try to make, Purdy do anything crazy. So I don't expect too much of a drop-off from those guys, honestly.
Is Purdy startable, you think, as a waiver claim?
In a
maybe
pinch.
over a guy like Matt Ryan or something of that nature?
I would start Purdy over Matt Ryan. I think just that offense, you're going to get more scoring opportunities. Like you can get quick, easy points off like a Debo screen pass or like look at his touchdown, like his dump off to McCaffrey, quick touchdown. Like the offense is going to make it easy on him.
I'm surprised at how pro Brock Purdy you guys are, because to be completely honest with you, as someone who has like almost every 49er player in one league or another, I hate this. I really don't like this one bit.
For McCaffrey, could be more checkdowns.
I am going to bed and I have nightmares. All right, that all of my Kittles and Ayuks and I'm not too worried about CMC.
Ayuk maybe. Ayuk is the one person I would be somewhat
I'd be worried about Ayuk.
Ayuk him, I was thinking more on the lens of like CMC and Debo. I think Kittle maybe
I feel like
but
Debo,
not too much.
Do more manufactured bullshit to him, and he hasn't been more amazing this year anyway. So I think that his targets and touches stay relatively the same.
Yeah, I should have.
Kittle, I'm scared that they're just going to be run merchants. So now with an offense that has already kind of just beaten people up on the ground, they add Christian McCaffrey. I just foresee a playoff week here where Kittle gets his 3 or 4 targets, his like 2 catches for 25 yards, and doesn't have that tight end one upside as consistently as he might have before.
So I haven't done my start sim yet because it's Tuesday. I put it out on Wednesday, but I was looking. There are 6 teams on bye this week, so I was trying to back my way into how startable is Brock Purdy. You're already going to be without Marcus Mariota, Justin Fields, Aaron Rodgers, Matt Ryan, Andy Dalton, and Taylor Heineke because they're all on bye.
I would have started him over like half of those QBs.
So now let's just go through some of the shit.
So
right?
the players,
Mayfield or the Rams
I would start the Rams quarterback over Brock Purdy because they're playing the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders have allowed 10 top 12 quarterback.
What about Mike White versus Buffalo?
14. That's the thing. Mike White is who I wouldn't start him over, and actually Daniel Jones is the other one I wouldn't start him over because he's playing Philly. Philly has not allowed a single top 12 quarterback this year. Not one through 14 weeks.
I'd probably start him over. I agree with those two, except the only difference is I would start him over the Rams quarterback. I don't want any part of that Rams offense right now.
Otherwise, I think he's probably on your bench, Brock Purdy. There's not really any other as I'm looking around at the matchups. So, I mean, in some instances, I guess he is startable if one of your players is on bye or if you have Mike White or whoever.
There are a decent amount of teams on bye this week. Like with like teams like trying to get in, which is ironic because it's like everyone's like trying to like, for a lot of people, this is like you have to win this week to be able to make the postseason, and people may be getting fucked by buys.
Purdy. Yeah, league winner Brock Purdy.
League winner Brock Purdy.
Everyone knew when they were drafting him at the end of their 5th round that he was going to be the guy.
Yeah, like no, I don't know all the teams, but I know like Colts are on buy, so someone may be trying to make it to the playoffs, and he's missing Jonathan Taylor or Pittman. The Commanders, McLaurin. There's a decent amount of teams.
I'm gonna put these two up here.
Here's an interesting segment here.
Okay.
And we just need to talk about this first and foremost. Matt Stafford now on IR. You have the rumblings. I've heard from multiple people rumblings. Oh, what if Stafford retires? Should you be actually worried about Stafford retiring, or should you be actively buying for a 2nd-round pick because you're getting a guy with some talent that's not super old, pretty cheap?
I'm not actively buying. The question is if I'm gonna panic sell and for what level, but I'm not actively buying.
Man, Aaron Donald, legit shit.
Aaron Donald nearly retired last offseason. I wouldn't be surprised. I'd be honestly surprised if he didn't retire this offseason. McVay has said like once some of his core guys go, he's gonna go with them. Cooper Kupp now for the year. I know Cooper Kupp will be back next season. But then with Stafford, I don't know. And JT, I agree with what you said in my Twitter message. I don't know how legit that the Twitter doctor was like with the report of like, oh, it could be like a career ending at this point in his career. I'm not going to go that far. But if it is like true, if it's a serious injury, I mean, he's going to miss what, like 8 or 9 weeks because of it, since he's out for the rest of the year. And like that Rams team on the downfall, they don't have their first this year. Like a top 5 pick is going to go to Detroit. They're in cap hell.
Well, riddle me this, Riddler. If he doesn't want to play for the Rams, he doesn't have to retire. They can trade him. And
they can.
Because of all those factors you're saying, if McVay leaves, Aaron Donald leaves, all these pieces leave,
they can.
Then they're going to want to trade his ass then.
They can. And which is why I'm not sure I'm panic selling. But am I going out and giving like a solid second for Stafford? I don't know. I don't know if I want to, because even if he does come back next year, if it goes bad again next year, do you worry about the next offseason?
Who are you more comfortable with if you have him on your team right now? Matt Stafford or Zach Wilson?
Oh,
Stafford,
but it's not
easily
Stafford.
Even with all this, okay, that's how far we've gone on Zach Wilson.
I think it's more so that I'm still confident in Stafford. I think
Frank's more optimistic about Stafford.
I think that realistically, this is a Kirk Cousins that just happens to be injured.
I don't know, because Stafford, you could say like I won my Super Bowl. He can kind of just go out in the sunset. He's had like an amazing career.
If I'm Stafford, I'm thinking like, okay, I can just take the rest of the year off, get healthy, right? If shit falls apart, then I can demand a trade. But nonetheless, offensively, you still have Cooper Kupp in his prime. You really don't need a ton of pieces. You just need to shore up the offensive line.
But I was going to say, the point I was going to say was Stafford had Cooper Kupp in his prime the first half of the season too, and like how was he playing?
Yeah, but the thing is, well, Cooper Kupp was fine.
Cooper Kupp was fine. No, I'm not talking about Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp is very different.
You just need to get one other guy. Like you don't really like. The problem is they didn't have the other guy. Allen Robinson was trash. The third was Van Jefferson was hurt for most of the year and came back after Stafford was out, who was actually decent 2 years ago. Tutu Atwell, who we can get into, was apparently supposed to get more chances.
And they spent a fucking 2nd-round pick on it.
All right, let's get into that now, because I mean I think what we're saying is, and where we have kind of a difference here is, I personally think like was Stafford coming back for? You guys are saying, or at least Frank is, like, you could just take this year off. You can, regroup.
I think the thing that's scary, Stafford can retire happy. He's had an elite career and he just won a Super Bowl.
My thing is whether or not this Twitter doctor is right or not, and I'm going to err on the side of he's wrong. Like this is just not a injury.
The thought of retirement isn't crazy.
Yeah, and I still think he's had a bunch of back injuries before this. Like he was plagued with back injuries on Detroit. Like it's not like a first out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's a combination of like he just accomplished that biggest goal. Like even excluding the injury, like this current injury, he's had injury problems before, and also it's like the rumors of those other Rams guys retiring. Like it's like Stafford obviously season.
Dude, we're going full circle here. We already said these same points.
Not worried about the whatever. All right, but yeah, Sean McVay did say. This is classic coach speak, if you ask me. Sean McVay said that he probably should have gotten more opportunities, talking about their second-round pick from 2 years ago, Tutu Atwell. Yeah, well, when you spend a second-round pick on a guy that's not that great, he's not going to get a ton of opportunities, and that's where I stand on Tutu Atwell.
Also, he's saying this. He's just saying this in. No, I'm going to say you're right, but
here we go. Yeah.
He's saying this in a game that he doesn't have Cooper Kupp and doesn't have Allen Robinson, and Van Jefferson's played 2 games. So, like, who's he giving the ball one off? Yeah,
Skowronek.
Yeah, exactly. What, you're going to tell me Skowronek's a better playmaker than Atwell? I'm just not going to go that far.
Yeah. In my opinion, I was never really high on Tutu Atwell. I don't think any of us were like that high to the point of like where he's like, I would have taken him in the second round of the NFL draft where they did. But the fact that they did, like, yeah, if you're gonna, as a franchise, gonna spend a second round pick on this receiver, you probably should have gotten him on the field more if you evaluated him that high. I personally didn't view him as that, but if they did, they should have. But I mean, yeah, at this point, yeah, it's easy to say. Your top 2 receivers are out. Your third one is just coming back from an ACL tear. I don't know. It doesn't really.
I'm actively picking up Tutu Atwell on waivers.
Really? This like stuck out for you? Like this was like, oh.
Well, yeah, and he has been playing better. I mean, he's made a couple of big plays. He hasn't had crazy opportunities, and the one thing I will say is that you were looking at a second round pick who, once again, they're more likely to break out in their second year or their third year, equally as likely in years 2 and 3. Didn't play at all his rookie year, is now getting a little bit of playing time. I feel like it isn't the craziest thing to pick up for free in terms of upside waiver plays. It's a little cloggy on your roster, which is unfortunate, but I don't think it's a bad play.
I don't mind it for some fab or whatever. I just wouldn't go spending actual draft picks on him, and that's the issue I have here. Whereas if he's on a roster, unless someone's willing to take some fab or another clogger on my bench, like I don't see this deal, coming into anything.
I mean, you might be able to pick him up for a 5th.
Sure, fine.
If you want to spend a 5th on him, sure. It's like
I have a hard time feeling like the guy who drafted him 2 years ago is going to trade him away for a 5th. So I don't know. It's just one of those tough scenarios where you don't want to buy him for any real capital, but you have to give up probably a 4th.
He's Kiki Kuti with slightly better draft capital.
That's disrespectful to Kiki Kuti. He's never had a multi-game stretch like Kiki Kuti.
I don't know. Maybe they're like the same to me. I'm not buying into this too.
I think in more leagues than not, he's on waivers. At least that I'm in, and they're relatively deep leagues. If you have a roster spot available,
I could tell you on Sleeper.
If you're a team that is completely tanking, like fuck it, just drop the 3rd string running back and see if he can have a decent stretch at the end of the season. They're looking for guys to compete next year.
Tutu Atwell is available in 70% of leagues.
There you go.
I'm not picking them up.
I did not think you would be
unless I had a
that many.
If you have a roster
spot, I'll take him.
I thought he would be at least 50% owned.
I think he's worth a roster spot.
All right, wrapping up our Rams part of the segment.
Okay, Lounis.
I didn't even say anything.
I know, but you're the Cam Akers hater. You were the one.
I'm done with Cam Akers.
You're the one that
shitting. I'm done. It feels like kicking like an injured child on the ground. Like it's just like feels like. He's been just. It's just like I know he had a decent week this week, but it's been just like so bad. Like I got my victory laps earlier this season. It's been bad. Like I'm happy.
Yeah, but what cost? What cost?
Because you were a Darrell Henderson truther.
Yeah. No. If you look at my thing, I'm more anti Cam. I always call Darrell Henderson at like generally average. I don't know. I wasn't saying go out and draft Henderson. I was saying sell Akers. And you can look at the hot takes.
Cam Akers might be startable here for playoff teams now. Like
I picked him up in a redraft league, and I'm starting him this week in a must-win game. So here we are.
I don't feel good starting anyone on the Rams offense.
He has an easy fucking schedule. Super easy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel great starting anyone on the Rams offense.
He put up 19 PPR points last week.
Las Vegas, Green Bay.
I view this.
Okay, now more from it. All right, let's reel it back in here.
Okay, reel it back.
If you have Cam Akers, right? Are you taking this blip to sell to a contender and just
for what?
This is just a wash. Probably like a halfway decent second.
No,
if you can still get a mid-second for Cam Akers.
I don't know. I feel like that's a pretty fair price all around. A mid-second.
I'm selling Cam Akers for a second.
That's an easy accept. Any second.
I would sell Cam Akers for.
It's an easy.
I think you're giving up on him too easy. I do.
I think I'm in that boat. I'm just not sure it's at the realm where like any old second is going to take it if I'm a contender and I have him still. Because he's startable in a flex spot in a playoff push. That might be worth it over just selling for a second and being like, whatever, the season was a dumpster fire for him. I think he's worth hanging on to, but I agree with you guys that I would be looking to sell actively.
Yeah,
I said at the start of the season to sell him for any early second you can get. Now it's any second if that's still the market.
I'm just thinking you could transition him into one of those veteran-esque receivers that has more time than people give him credit for left in their career. My popular one was Tyler Lockett. I'm just not sure I want to buy Tyler Lockett anymore. But yeah, maybe a Tyler Boyd is a good one. Maybe like a Gallup even. I understand that he's not been playing great. But
I would agree with you 1 week ago. You might be 1 week too late now.
I'm telling you guys.
With Gallup.
Cam Akers for Rashad Penny and pocket the change and just go about your day. You're going to get the same amount of points.
You can probably get a second and Penny,
maybe.
I feel like.
Maybe.
If there's a contender that has Penny and a contender 24.
Why Rashad Penny?
I was gonna say
because he's just got a broken leg. He's not.
I was gonna say I don't really want any of those runs. I would take the second.
He's coming back.
I don't really. Want any of those runs.
Did you miss last week, Jake? We talked about Rashad Penny. I'm a Rashad Penny guy.
Why?
I don't know if that was last week or 2 weeks.
Rashad Penny is actually
the torch to JT.
He is decent when he's healthy.
At his cost now.
JT, here's the torch. Grab it from me.
Right, hold on.
He is no. I mean, like he is solid when he's healthy. He's just like you have zero faith in him.
How many points does he get you when he's on IR after week 3?
Absolutely I'm on your side.
I didn't even make this a Rashad Penny segment.
Yeah. So wait, Jake, are you buying Cam Akers right now then?
I mean, for that price, probably. If I can get him for a pick that's going to be 210 or later, yeah.
I mean, if you're a contender, then you may want to send out some trade offers in some leagues.
Yeah, like, are you selling like 209 to 212 for Akers?
Sure. Like, that's a pick that I like. After about 206, like the picks are all this, like not all the same, but they generally have a drop off. So if you're not getting those guys that just missed that first round, you're now into guys that are like, well, I could maybe get him in the 3rd round, and you're like really picking at straws and just taking guys that you like, which is fine.
I'm gonna completely fuck up the whole this part of the podcast, but we're talking about it, so I want to talk about it now. You got my juices flowing. 2023 second round pick discussion.
Yeah,
this is something that I've wanted to discuss for the past couple episodes, and it's something that I truly don't know the answer to still. So I feel like every single year there's a phenomena at this part of the season and early into the off season, probably until like right before free agency or maybe even in free agency of the NFL season, where everyone kind of thinks they know what the second round is valued at and who the players are going to be picked in the second round are. But in actuality, I don't think anyone knows who the fuck is getting picked there and what the hell these picks are supposed to be valued at.
2 years ago, I was pretty hyped about Seth Williams and thought, if he got decent draft capital, I'd scoop him up in the second.
But even come March, it's still like when you go back, it's like, well, shit, it's still a clusterfuck. Like, so is there any way us as, eager dynasty managers to try and get some arbitrage value off of this scenario? Is that like maybe, I just wanted to have a discussion. Like, do you just target a guy initially and then just say, okay, wherever the fuck I think he ends up going, you try to trade into that pick? Is it just like,
I like getting with second round picks on the side of your contenders, guys that you expect like they're whoever's team they're on, like they think like, oh, this is an older veteran. Every year I keep him, his value's gonna get worse. And you could try to get them for cheaper, whether it be like a Keenan Allen. Darren Waller is about to come. I'm saying for like contender buys for a second round pick. Darren Waller is about to come back.
So you're saying to sell the seconds?
Oh! I thought we were talking about a segment.
We're talking about the second round picks, right?
Joe, just in general, not just spending them.
I think that the early second round picks are pretty darn undervalued. That's what I feel like.
Are you saying that in general or in this like?
Let me give you an example.
Class in particular,
someone like James Conner, you might be able to trade for, let's say, the pick that is 206 and a random third, or 207 and a random third, 208 and a random third, second round pick around there, right? I think that's a very reasonable price that you might see for James Conner in a league.
Mm-hmm.
206. I mean, we've seen it so many years that a player that you can pick around there just jumps a shit ton in value without even playing. You're muted, Jake.
Dameon Pierce in this last draft, early in the offseason, before he was getting hype, was around rookie pick about 206. And then he's jumped up to now one of the top rookies in the class.
Yeah, there is a little bit of like you have to pick the right guy, but come that part of the season, you can always then trade that pick back into James Conner and then profit a third, I feel like.
I feel like this year's second round was not nearly as
I was more thinking of 2020.
Yeah,
2020
had
round
like Justin Jefferson
was nuts.
In there. Yeah,
that was a generational. Well, not generational.
But I mean, this class is a shit ton of running backs, and the receiver class is not bad at all. Like, I might start thinking about potentially trying to move guys like James Conner just for a mid to early second. And it's one of those trades that might look bad at first, but then all of a sudden the rookie draft comes around and you're like, oh shit, I'm able to get this guy at 204, 205, or I go in at 207 because the clusterfuck is not even ending in March. You can trade up from 207 to 202 for not a crazy cost.
Yeah.
Especially before the draft where you have that period of, everyone likes their pre-draft guys, but you inevitably have the dude that was going to go in the second or third and ends up going in the fifth.
Mm-hmm.
No, I agree. I do think it's kind of tricky in certain scenarios. It really is dependent on where your team's at. I think I have totally different approaches if I'm like a rebuilding team or a retooling team or if I'm a contender. Because my first answer was from the perspective of a contender, where it's like also because in my opinion, I mean, the 23 draft class, the second round, I think it's like decent. It's not a draft that I am pro trading down in. I think trading down in this upcoming draft class would be a mistake. I think there's very legit tier breaks. Jake, I saw your question. Like, if I'm trading down from 104 to 109, I think that's a bigger drop off than normal years.
That's a separate discussion, though.
That is
as far as like second round picks are concerned. I
don't even hate like if you have an early second, kind of flipping it for the next year with this year in particular.
That's what I think. Not specifically that, but I think if you're trying to get trades done and you think you're not getting your full value's worth of players,
the best
I have no issue of you going to 2024 seconds or 2025 seconds.
The easiest seconds to get are future years, and I know that goes actually for every pick. That's a dumb statement, but like I feel like it's not like very hard in terms of just like if you compare getting like a 24 second or 25 second now compared to like like this spring, like this year's second, it's going to be like a pretty big difference when really it shouldn't be.
But also, like, as I'm looking at this,
if that makes sense,
as I'm looking at the second round picks, it seems like this year there was only like 3 players from the second round that I would say were that boosted their value from the start of 2022 to now. If we go look at 2021, I'd say there's a lot. That's a lot better crop. I'd say there's probably I don't know, 6 or 7, 8 actually, 8 players of that 12 that boosted their value. Looking into 2020, that one was crazy because that was like Justin Jefferson would fall there, Michael Pittman, Ayuk, T. Higgins. I think there's 8 or 9 in that class as well. So it does seem like if you're just throwing a dart player who's getting taken in the second round, it seems like you're more than likely, like you have a higher than 50% chance. I haven't done any of the math on it other than just looking back, but it looks like you have more than a 50% chance of increasing your value year over year. But my thing is, a 2024 second round pick is just guaranteed to increase value. That's 100% likely going to increase from now to next year. It's the time value of draft picks in this instance, where it's just a draft pick today is worth more than a draft pick a year from now.
That's actually a great point by JT. If I'm trading for any second round pick, it's 24. Or maybe
I don't necessarily. I know it's a weird case, but like comparing like this draft class or the way people value the 2023, especially first round picks, compared to the way they valued the 2022 first round picks, where
2022 is like the only. It's kind of that.
It was a weird,
like a historically bad.
Yeah, it's like a black swan.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, how many draft classes do we have where a quarterback doesn't go first 2 rounds?
Right, yeah, but even then, like, I'm talking about, like, sure, 2024 also looks good with the likes of Caleb Williams and stuff, but like, people get overhyped on all of these quarterbacks all the time and tend to forget about the rest of the class. Like, even though like this class wasn't great, we're still looking at guys like Chris Olave, Pickens, and Christian Watson now, and all these other guys that were first round picks in this class starting to play better. And people were throwing those picks away like it was garbage. I've seen some people trade a 2022 first for a 2023 second just because they didn't. Like, it doesn't make sense.
It was kind of crazy, but I will say in terms of those guys, even though there's a ton of talent in this draft class, if there were quarterbacks in this draft class, you're getting each of those guys 3 slots later.
Absolutely, and that's why I guess the value of seconds in a quarterback-loaded class is even more. But like,
well, not only that, I think this is an astronomically better running back class because
it's a way worse receiver class.
You guys,
it's a worse receiver
class. Future seconds is always a good move, and come draft time, if you're just looking to pick up value, trading back and or trading out just for good value in future picks is usually a pretty good move. But I'm thinking about this draft now, 2023 seconds. Because these ones you have to pay a premium for because they are this year's draft. I honestly still think they're undervalued. Like, the more I think into this, well, it's annoying to get the early ones. I'm not sure necessarily the early ones are super undervalued, right? 201, 202, 203. Everyone knows those are good picks. But those middling ones, especially right now if you don't have a trade deadline, I'm really thinking about like James Conner to a team that wants to win and make the playoffs, or Zonovan Knight for a third. Obviously, it's not a second, but there's ways to weasel yourself in there, pick upgrading, right? And slowly but surely move your way up the draft, because I honestly think that this second round could easily be similar to a 2020 second round. Just instead of necessarily those nasty receiver prospects, you have some really great tight end prospects hanging around there and some fantastic running backs.
Like the 2020 second round?
I'm just thinking like, okay, if we all can for now agree on who like the top 10-ish sort of players are.
Yeah.
That kind of usually leaves out the guys like Michael Mayer and Arik Gilbert and Devin Achane. And I mean, there's a whole laundry list of running backs that could potentially be decent. it kind of is just dependent on draft capital and landing spot a little bit to which ones rise and fall. But especially because a lot of teams are now using multiple running backs as well. So there's kind of more slots for them to succeed in.
I'm just like, when you say like they're still undervalued even though they're at a premium, right? I'm just thinking of like, would you trade like a Keenan Allen for just like a mid-second, a David Njoku for mid-second, Greg Dulcich?
Greg Dulcich, I might. Man, that's tough.
These are the guys that are rated around that mid-second kind of thing, and it's just like, I don't know. I kind of like the player that I have.
I was about to list a bunch of buys I could get for a mid-second. If I had 204,
Keenan Allen, I might.
Question. Would you rather have 204, 203 in this draft or Khalil Herbert?
204, 203.
Yeah, give me the pick.
I like Khalil Herbert, but
I might take Khalil Herbert. I don't know.
I was okay trading.
What's I was gonna say, what is it? A 206, 207 that'll do it for you? I try to make it the higher end.
Part of my argument is not necessarily directly trading into the early seconds. It's maneuver your way into that mid to late second and then trade up into that early second slot.
Yeah, but I think that's very league dependent. I have trouble trying to make those kind of moves with leagues. I feel like I offer more than fair trades to move up just a couple spots in drafts, and I always feel like I'm getting rejected. Like, I feel like that's
why I kind of want to do it now, because I think the farther out you do it, when that name is not to the face, it's much easier.
Right, but especially when you're talking about moving up a spot or two, in leagues that have a lottery or even leagues that are determined by points, you still might change after this week. So like, there's a lot of, if you're trying to go from 108 to 105, that could change in 1 week based on just points for or whatever the tiebreaker is. Like, there's no saying that it's actually going to be improvements. So you have to wait and see what happens in a league's lottery, what happens in this final week before you can do anything if you're talking about a couple picks here in the second round.
Well, the last point I want to mention, and this is another way that I want to get into that second round, that I fell victim to before and this was 2 years ago, I think I fell victim to it. It was after Rager's rookie year, right? That was 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I've since learned from that mistake. That was buying the face planter. And it doesn't have to be an exorbitant, like, oh, that guy went down to whatever bean counters on Twitter, DF bean counters face planter metric actually is. I don't remember it off the top of my head.
It's ADP from May to May.
That guy that, I mean, you could call it eternal optimism. You can call it people just believing in the profile. Selling that guy that is just straight up underperforming, but people still believe in. I think the example right now, even though I like this guy, his profile and everything, Elijah Moore. You can still move for that mid second, right? And I guarantee you, come this offseason, because I see it happening with Rager, right? And this is why I err on the side of doing this.
Elijah Moore is
Hold on. I bought Jalen Rager in that offseason for 207. I had league mates in the chat being like, "Oh, guy, you fleeced him for Rager." People would probably say that about Elijah Moore right now if you traded 207 for Elijah Moore. But goddamn, come the start of that next season, I wish I had my 207 back. There wasn't even a game played from the time I traded to the time that I regretted the trade.
I understand. I agree.
One receiver, Elijah Moore, is cooked.
Okay, real quick. I agree with your entire philosophy. I just think Elijah Moore is a bad example. If you're telling me I could trade 207 in this year's draft for Elijah Moore, that's an easy decision.
I'm just the thing is with Elijah. Now this is kind of becoming an Elijah Moore segment, so I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to talk about it. No, this is a second round pick segment.
I just think, sure. Now, in that instance that you brought up of now who we're not going to talk about, I don't think the face planting. I think it's strictly a rookie tool that is used. I don't think it looks at, because there are players like Brandon Ayuk who were in the doghouse their second year, dropped a bunch, and then has now
I agree
returned.
But he had bounced back by
here's an intriguing one. Would you rather buy or sell like David Bell for like 209?
Sell. Easy sell.
There will be people who would buy it.
I don't know if you have to pay $209 at this point for.
Well, we can just say a late second.
I think a late second is just an overpay for David.
I'm looking at he was drafted at middle of the second round.
Yeah, he was a mid-second rounder.
He's done nothing since, and I think you could get him for probably an early third. And at that point, I would buy.
Obviously, wait. No, there's an easy example.
Yes.
Sky Moore is the easy example.
Sky Moore
is the example.
Sky Moore, I would trade for. I would trade Sky Moore for an early second.
Well, let's use the Elijah Moore example. Let's say 206, 20. Let's say 206. What are the three of you doing? If you get offered 206 for Sky Moore,
I'm gonna hold.
Countering for a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold.
Okay, so wait, okay, I should ask, what's the price in the second round you guys are accepting at for Sky Moore?
202, 203. I just think there's going to be a value bump from now till draft time, because I think there's going to be receivers that leave Kansas City. I think you're just going to have, even if you don't like Sky Moore, there's going to be people that are going to say, hey, he's got all this opportunity in front of him. He's got Patrick Mahomes throwing to him. Whether or not he's good or not, it's just the situation's there.
It sounds very familiar to Rager,
honestly,
though.
I feel like we've had this conversation
all
the time.
That sounds super familiar to Rager, though. This was when Wentz was still considered good.
Yeah, I might chip him off for 2.
This was still
Wentz. Be a little hasty, but
yeah. But again, in the similar vein, you could have, not Rager specifically, because he had such a bad rookie season, and then there was more on top of it that just wasn't going into Rager's favor. I just think the value of Moore now, and
he's going to finish with a more.
I feel like I've talked about this for a month now. Lewis just keeps coming in bashing Moore every time, and I keep saying, "Look,
I drafted him in the 3rd and 20 league
or not." Yeah,
I liked him pre-draft.
Whether or not you like Sky Moore or not, there's going to be a value bump. There just is. So you might as well just hold, and you might as well wait. And that's it. That's kind of end of discussion of the past month I've been saying about Sky Moore.
But I will say quick, Rager's going to finish with a more productive rookie year than Sky Moore.
I don't know if that's true.
In the games played, at least, if we count fantasy points per game, I think Rager played 10 games his rookie year, something like that. He played majority of the year.
I think I would just rather bite the bullet and sell all of the underperforming young players at a loss from where I drafted them. And maybe that's a little bit hasty, right? And I'll give you that. It is case by case dependent. But for me, the level of underperforming of Elijah Moore for a team that needs weapons on offense, I'm not sure how you can forgive that. The guy's not been doing shit with 3 quarterbacks now. The guy can't even get 5 catches in a ball game.
I don't know. I still like Elijah Moore.
I still kind of do too.
Which is why I think selling them in that now to March is what I would do, because they draft the receiver, you're fucked.
Who? The Jets?
The Jets. If they pick up a receiver within the top 3 rounds, his value shoots down.
I feel like the Jets might need to be packaging some picks for quarterback, though, but we'll see.
Derek Carr soon.
All right, let's get into some 2023 draft news.
Yeah, well, I'll kick this one off because I was super high on him. I still had him in my top 3 wide receivers, which, funnily enough, is where I had Chris Olave roughly. I think Chris Olave was my wide receiver 4 until he decided to declare for his senior season, or not declare, decided to return for his senior season. And I was like, I'm done with Chris Olave. Now I have that with Kayshon Boutte, who is returning back to LSU this year. Or for 2023. He is not declaring for the 2023 NFL draft. So that's, in my mind, a decently sized big hit to this wide receiver class, regardless of his inefficiency and lack of production this year at LSU, which I more so attribute to Jaden Daniels than anything, and Brian Kelly. But he's going back. I don't know, NIL deals, money. It's not nearly as big a deal as going into the draft right away. I guess I'll start with, we'll focus on Kayshon first, and then we can pivot to the rest of the 2023 wide receiver class and how we feel about them then. But to me, again, kind of similar to Olave. I mean, I kind of got that one wrong, seeing as how Olave has been playing recently. But I don't like it when this receiver says, "Hey, I'm going to pass up on the NFL to stay for another year." It's just it doesn't sit right with me. It typically doesn't work out. I don't know.
I do think it's tricky.
I think it makes sense for him specifically because we're talking about a guy that was the arguably number one receiver. I think JSN was probably number one, but he was close to it. And now we're talking about him potentially, if he were coming out this class, not being in the top 5. So
yeah,
he's in the consensus top 5.
Yeah,
but the fact of the matter is that he went from arguable number 1 to now we're arguing the top 5 is where, okay, he stays for another year. Now he goes back to, he can easily be a top 3 wide receiver pick.
Yeah, but is he gonna outproduce?
Not next season.
Like, is he gonna? I don't know.
The thing with Boutte that I find intriguing is that all of his tough matchups he produces in. He produced against Georgia.
I was about to say
produced against Florida. We just need to see the consistency. And I, like JT, think that Jaden Daniels does not help with your consistency at the wide receiver position.
It doesn't, but still, like, even with an inconsistent quarterback, you'd like to see more. We've seen guys who are like second-round NFL draft picks with trash quarterbacks still be able to produce more. And it's funny with the whole situation. I was actually like starting to be like, I was way more down on him this season because of how this season has gone. Like early on in the season, we saw him kind of like, seems like he's like kind of out of it. I don't think that was the case all year. And then he's had a few big games here and there, and then he played great against Georgia. I think he had like I forget, it was like 5 for 107 and a touchdown or something. And I was like, okay, that's a strong finish. And we'll see how it goes. But now
I'm holding the right to reserve to completely flip again on Kayshon if this exact scenario happens.
No, but now if he's staying next year as a senior, if you're staying as a senior next year, you need to have listen one of those
listen to this and tell me if you buy in. Listen to this and tell me if you buy in. Okay, because this is where I'm going to flip on Kayshon if it happens. Either A, LSU just throws the bag at some crazy good quarterback, which I don't think is what's going to happen. No. Or B, the more likely scenario, Kayshon gets the bag, kind of like Jordan Addison did, to go to like maybe Colorado where Deion Sanders is now, or maybe one of those big schools, right? And he just gets thrown a ton of money and he produces there. Ohio State, I don't know if Ohio State will, but if he gets like a giant NIL deal to go somewhere else and he's entering the transfer portal and ends up somewhere else, I'll flip my opinion on him a little bit.
The only thing is I feel like he would have announced he's entering the transfer portal instead of coming back to LSU.
Yeah, maybe. That could be it. But
dude, I think LSU, that quarterback that got subbed in against UGA's got a fucking cannon. I want to see that guy play.
What class is he in?
I have no idea.
I know who you're talking about, but I don't know what class he's in.
You have that guy thrown to Kayshon Boutte. Okay, all of a sudden we might see the 1,000-yard receiver Kayshon Boutte, and if that happens,
he still hasn't.
I don't give a fuck what happened the junior season, because to me, what's important. You had the freshman year and you had the sophomore year production, which is more important than the junior year production. If he comes back and smashes it his senior year, I'm willing to let go a lack of a big junior year to, okay, there was some bullshit going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even that though, like for me, the thing with Kayshon Boutte has always been people raving just over his physical ability. Because when we're talking about like productive seasons, like, okay, let's look at the productive seasons. In 2020, he had 45 catches for 735 yards and 5 touchdowns. Okay, that's a good freshman year.
Very good freshman year.
Very good freshman year. His second year, he had 38 catches for 509 yards.
Pretty sure he got injured.
I should double check how many games he played that season. I'll pull that up in a sec. And this year, he finished for 48 catches for 538. I'll get the number on how many games he played his sophomore year for you guys real quick. His sophomore year, he played 6 games. So he had 506 games.
That was with Terrace Marshall as the lead receiver, right?
So he had 506 games.
He was pushing.
I think so.
If I remember correctly, in terms of years, I think that was the year he was pushing Terrace Marshall onto the bench because of how good he was performing, and then he got injured, and then Terrace Marshall went back and produced. But I mean,
I still like it.
Here's an interesting one. Yeah, I mean, I think we're kind of just going in circles again here.
This one you think is interesting? Go ahead.
Well, just because he's just a very controversial player right now, and that's Florida quarterback Anthony Richardson has declared for the NFL draft, a move that I think a lot of people were shocked by because, I mean, he's the epitome of a raw prospect, has all the physical tools. But man, where the hell is he going to go in the NFL draft?
Late. He's maybe not drafted.
Okay, JT, you're out of your fucking mind.
Dude,
I feel like his floor
Anthony Richardson is not a good quarterback.
He's not.
He's worse than Malik Willis by far.
What?
He's the worst prospect.
He's worse than Malik Willis?
Did you watch his game against Utah again and tell me that he's a better prospect?
Do you know the competition that both of them were playing?
Malik Willis.
Are you aware of how Malik? Do you remember how Malik Willis?
Time out, Lounis. Time out.
Florida.
The one thing I will say to moderate the discussion a little bit is that I think you guys are both right, and I don't think Malik Willis was a terrible prospect, but his game does not translate to the pros, which is a major issue.
Neither does Anthony Richardson.
Anthony Richardson.
A fair point. Like I'm not going to come out here.
Richardson
arguing for Anthony Richardson.
I would argue it doesn't.
So I'll say this. Lappy has told me too, where he thinks Richardson's going to go on draft. Richardson isn't falling out of the first 3 rounds. I bet however much money. I bet
if he falls out of the first round, it doesn't matter.
And no,
that's the point.
Real quick, can I finish my statement? I'd be pretty surprised if he fell out of the first. I'd bet money he doesn't fall out of the second. If you think he's declaring this, that he doesn't fall out of the second round, yeah. I'll bet you $25 right now.
Down
in the notes. Similar.
I'll bet that with. By the way, I have that bet with Frank. I'll bet that with anyone else on this podcast.
You think he's a second round pick?
He's going top 2.
Anthony Richardson.
Yeah.
How do you think he compared to Kyle Trask?
What is it? I think Kyle Trask was less raw, but in terms of physical talent, they're not in the same universe. The Kyle Trask, he was more polished, but he can't make the throws or plays that Anthony Richardson makes. Anthony Richardson's a raw as fuck prospect. If he plays as a rookie, I'll tell you now, he's gonna look like fucking terrible. He's one of those guys where like he needs to sit for a year. And just because he has a physical, like he can make throws that like a lot of NFL guys can't make. And what I will say is this. What people debating, should he come back to Florida or not? Do you think he's entering for the draft if he wasn't just generally aware that he's going in the top 2 rounds? When he could have easily just came back?
I don't know.
I mean,
do you think he would have declared if he didn't have a general idea, like, hey, you're going to be a top 2 round pick?
Yeah, sure. People say that in December.
I mean, in December, like, his hype's only going to get better. He in terms of physical tools, the physical tools is the one thing he has on his side. You don't think in his pro day he's going to make some absurd running through? Like he flicks the wrist and throws at 60 yards. He's going to have those
throw some balls into the dirt.
I'm telling you, his pro day throws, and I think it'll be disingenuous because I hate when people do this with any quarterback. But he's gonna be one of those quarterbacks that makes insane throws on his pro day because he just has the arm talent and arm strength too. And people are like, "Oh shit!" Like he can just flick it and it goes like 60 yards. He runs a 4.4 and he's 6'5". You don't think he's gonna dominate the combine? I think it's only gonna go up throughout the offseason.
And what happens when he doesn't run a 4.4 and he runs a 4.6 or a 4.5?
I mean, listen, you can watch his tape and you let me know if you think he's slow. I don't think him being slow is his issue.
Dude, let me see if I can put it up on the screen.
I think a perfect landing spot for him is a team like Seattle with their late first rounder. He can sit behind like Geno Smith for a year and a half, and then come in. Because I think physical tool wise, he's the most physically talented quarterback in this draft. I'll stand behind that. He's also the most raw. But in terms of physical talent, I like to see a quarterback with a better arm or athletic ability that's eligible for this draft class.
The problem is, I pulled up Anthony Richards' his numbers, and man, it's just not pretty.
It's not. Neither were Josh Allen's.
You're picking the one.
Hold on a second, because you just went from one side of the universe to the other. Because I don't even think Josh Allen's numbers were as bad as this. Right?
No, but also,
this guy has less than 3,500 passing yards in his career.
He only really started for one season.
Frank, can you please pull up the tweet that I put in the doc?
Yeah, give me a second. Hold on. I wouldn't have altered the screen size if I knew you're going to do that, JT.
My bad.
No, that's all right. In the doc. Okay. You guys are getting to behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if we're gonna play that game, do you know how many individual plays I can pull up with Anthony Richardson where he looks like
and that's the argument for him.
Like, if we're gonna do that bad throw, I can show you throws where he's making like absurd accurate down the field throws with like a quick flick. The highlight game with Anthony Richardson, you probably won't win. It's gonna be the total body of work.
You're just
in terms of individual plays. No, he's gonna go top 2 rounds. JT.
If Anthony Richardson played for Miami, if he played for Texas A&M, if he played for Texas Tech, you wouldn't be talking about Anthony Richardson like how you're talking about Anthony Richardson. He's not good. He's not good.
He's like I'm telling you, he's super raw, but the talent is there. Why don't you make the bet that he doesn't go first 2 rounds?
Sure, I already made the dot. I'll put it in the notes too. I have it in the notes.
So, okay, we pull up Josh Allen. Josh Allen basically had Anthony Richardson's production his sophomore season and a better completion percentage and like 10 more touchdowns.
And then Anthony Richardson's doing this in the SEC.
True, but let's not act like Wyoming had a bunch of world beaters.
I mean, I'm not saying like they're insane, but we saw with the Malik Willis comparison, we saw the one time he played someone that was actually like FBS legit, like Power 5 level, and how he did. Anthony Richardson spent his entire season playing against like Georgia, Bama, LSU, like Utah.
But the comp is an entire different universe. I think it's a difference because it's not like he's not an SEC team. I don't really. I think that the whole playing field argument is really way more bullshit than people make it out.
No, and I'm not going to say that as the only thing, because otherwise it's like you give SEC quarterbacks a balance with everything. But I'm just saying in terms of him versus Malik Willis, I think he's different than Malik. I do think.
So how about rookie draft, Lounis? Where would you value Anthony Richardson right now in a rookie draft? Or how about where would you be targeting him if we were doing our dynasty mocks right now?
It's going to ultimately end up with the landing spot and where he goes.
Just right now, no landing spot, whatever. If we were doing a startup rookie draft, where are you targeting him around? Like, you don't know who's going where. It's just you have to put him. I want to take him in the mid-second, right? That's where I would take him before, because I know he won't last to my next pick or whatever, right?
Yeah. It's 201 through 203 is easy. I'm more so considering like if I can go into
the first.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So the one thing I will say is that if he's a first-round NFL pick, he has to be a first-round dynasty pick. It's just what it is. These guys, if they're willing to draft him in the first round, I'll be willing to draft him in the first round. Like, bearing he's picked like 32 or whatever it is or something like that, even though Lamar or whatever.
Even 32, it'd be if I'd like 112 if he's sitting there. I'm like,
exactly. If you're talking a back-end first-round pick, 110, 112, in that range, and he's a first-round quarterback in the NFL draft, you got to take him.
Yeah, he'll go in the first. My problem is I think he's going to go like in the middle of the third or
I think he's
somewhere around.
That's why I just here's the only thing I'm going to bring up with you guys. He declared for the draft now. He could have easily stayed a year at Florida and continued to develop. And I think his stock will only go up between his pro day and combine, because in terms of physical tools, that's the one thing he's absolutely elite at. So I'm saying if he's declaring now, my guess is he generally knows, hey, I'm going first 2 rounds. You give him a pro day on open grass with his arm, and then combine, he gets to do all these athletic drills. It's only going to go up.
I don't know. I don't agree with that, though, because I think in the NFL, unless you have you're legitimately elite from the pocket in college, then having physical tools is a prerequisite to go in the first round, not the reason you're going to go in the first round.
If I stack Jalen Hurts' resume against Anthony Richardson's, like, I'm just way more going to take Jalen Hurts.
I mean,
Jalen Hurts went at the end of the second.
Hurts had more college success, and I love Jalen. Jalen Hurts had more college success. He's much more polished. He doesn't have close to the arm Anthony Richardson.
Anthony Richardson has less production than like every single starting quarterback in the league, and like probably 99% of first round quarterbacks. That's why I can't really buy into him. It's like he's in the worst percentile of college production for quarterbacks.
I'm talking only talent. You're gonna beat me on production. I'm talking talent. I see the arm. I think B is the best arm in the draft, and he's the most athletic quarterback.
I'm just thinking of talent as like this magic like dust that we're making. Like
no, but I mean, it's just throws. Like for example, like Jalen Hurts, like he's right now top 2, top 3 MVP candidate. He doesn't have a better arm than Anthony Richardson. He's more accurate, but in terms of just arm strength, being able to make the throws.
But we've seen how far arm strength gets you. Like there's,
Yeah, it is. No, it is. I agree with, like, I get that. I'm just saying he does have the best arm in the draft, though.
I not think we'd spend this long talking about Anthony Richardson.
I mean, if he ends up being a first-round pick, it'll be fun to look back.
All right.
By the way, you guys can clown me if he ends up going third or later.
Oh, I already made the note.
We have don't worry, we already know that.
I'll take all the clowning. I'm just saying he's not in for the show.
Let's keep this moving. Jaxon Smith-Njigba, who was the consensus wide receiver 1 coming into the season, not anymore, has had basically a complete wash of a junior season. He's been battling hamstring injuries like the entire year. He when he played, he wasn't really doing anything, and he hasn't played a whole lot. He is sitting out the college football playoff. The expectation is that Ohio State will make the college football playoff with the whole shitstorm of college football that happened last week. And he has already said, not playing in any bowl games, college football playoff, I'm declaring for the draft. First question is, now that there is no back half of the season rejuvenation of Jaxon Smith-Njigba, how concerned are you about this junior season being completely just terrible?
He's moved up he's moved up.
Really? All this junior year has shown me is that no one has even come close to a season last year. Yeah, when he was fully healthy. And anything, looking at how good Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave are in the NFL, and he was easily the best receiver on that team.
Mm-hmm.
He was my wide receiver 3 going into this year. He's now my wide receiver 2. So he's moved up.
Do you still have Quentin Johnston over him?
Oh, yeah, I still have Johnston over him.
He was
second.
And I understand the Quentin Johnston's the better athlete. And I have him in my top 3. Him and Addison is close. I haven't figured out 2 or 3 yet. I'm going to order it between those two. I need to watch more of both. But I do know I have JSN first. His season, like, listen, hamstrings are I was saying in the group chat, hamstrings are tricky. Like, he had a bad injury. He tried to come back, got re-injured. I don't fault him for sitting out. Like we saw, Jameson Williams lost money by tearing his ACL in the chip game. Didn't affect Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase looked great as well. Like, it's, I don't know. And I'm not saying, like, he's, like, one or the other, but it doesn't really affect my value of him. I'm excited to see where he goes. The dream spot is the Chargers. For me, like if he goes mid-first round, but that's a whole different issue.
Spot for most receivers,
yeah. It doesn't look like he's going top 10 anymore, which is kind of surprising.
What do you mean? They got Josh Palmer, guys.
Well, what's an interesting fact?
I like Josh Palmer. But...
What I believe might impact some of the draft stock of the receivers is that last year we saw everyone going completely gung-ho over receivers because of what we saw the Bengals did. But now it seems like there's kind of been a switch back to the teams that are having success are the teams that built around their offensive and defensive lines. So I wonder if that
Dolphins?
potentially
I also was gonna say,
like, you talk about a team that has completely revamped their entire offensive line over the past 2 years.
Yeah, true.
I mean,
but also added Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill.
Waddle, Hill. We see AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. But I do think it's also
best offensive line in football with the Eagles.
It's also I just don't think it's like just as not as good, but I don't think it's really close between this year's receivers class and last year. In terms of we're talking like how deep it is,
we can all agree that if we don't care about the senior season or the junior season for Jaxon Smith-Njigba, then he should be a higher pick than Jahan Dotson was. Easily. He should be at least the same as Treylon Burks, if not higher.
Yeah, he should be the top.
So I've seen a lot of mocks where JSN is going like pick 20.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's absurd. But
wait, are you talking about like first round mocks, like for
first
NFL?
Round, pick 20.
Oh.
So if that happens, does that mean that the value of receivers is equal, the talent in the draft class is relatively equal? Like
no, this class has 5 quarterbacks that could go.
No.
It's not the same.
It's a different draft class.
5 quarterbacks.
If Jaxon Smith-Njigba was draft eligible last season,
4 quarterbacks
last season after a sophomore year, do you think he goes behind Jahan Dotson?
I don't think so.
I don't think so
and that's
either.
why I'm bringing it up.
Decently ahead of
him. There are concerns about Jaxon Smith-Njigba, right? The athleticism being
it's more so the athleticism. It's going to be like he might have a iffy combine, and it's going to make people lower on him.
I stand by it. I valued him similarly to Rashad Bateman. Rashad Bateman went into that 20
way better than Rashad Bateman.
I value him similar. I think Rashad Bateman.
Actually, but no, you're really high on Rashad Bateman. You're high on Bateman. Okay, so I think that makes sense.
The thing is, I just think the overall skill of players in this 2023 class, and as Lucas likes to say, the talent of the 2023 class, I think, is a lot better than the 2022 class. So I think just generally, you're going to see a lot of players go further down. Like I think it's going to just be a better overall class. So. I'm not.
All right,
upset.
so we don't care. We don't care about the bad season.
Nope.
And I think
I wouldn't call it a bad season either. It's just like
he got injured.
It wasn't a good season, so it's a bad season. I don't understand. Getting injured is not a good season. That's a bad.
I mean, no, I didn't say it was a good season.
Well, if I'm looking at a season, I'm not like, oh, he was bad this year. Like,
he was out.
A good year. Yeah, it wasn't a good year.
All right. Lamar Jackson hurt, some sort of sprain or something or another.
Stinks if you have him for a playoff run, but other than that,
whatever. Week to week.
I was big on drafting him in redraft this year, and that's not ideal.
Joe A. Barrett's come full circle. He's someone in the chat that really highly values Huntley. Well, now he's in. He's playing.
Is he finally up to that first round pick value?
Now, I am selling him fast because this offense is not good.
Yeah, no, I think if you could sell him, I mean, I think he can be fantasy viable as a QB2, depending on who your QB2 is, because of his rushing upside over like a couple weeks span. I might ask, are you saying like if someone believes in him long term, then yeah?
I think I'd rather start Heineke.
Are you trotting out there? Are you trotting out there Brock Purdy this week, or are you trotting out there Huntley?
I had Purdy above a few people, and I think I still might do. Huntley's rushing upside is legit.
But on the other hand, you do have Purdy's got a nice team built around him. Huntley's got Mark Andrews.
Purdy is tough. I would start Purdy and Huntley over Heineken.
This Ravens offense is struggling with one of the top quarterbacks in the game. Right, and it's not like Lamar is playing bad. If you go watch those Ravens games,
I was going to say the offense is struggling, but Lamar is still putting up fantasy points. I don't care if the Ravens scored 10 fucking 6 points as long as Huntley rushes for like 70 yards and has like 1 touchdown.
I think that people are taking the last year Huntley and the last year Ravens and applying those numbers to what they think is going to happen now. And
they went 1-4 in his starts last year. It wasn't even good.
No, but he was good in fantasy.
No, his fantasy numbers were fine. I do not think that that's going to be the case here. I would be looking potentially at a second round pick trying to get get that. I honestly think that there are people.
Do you think you can get a second round pick for Huntley?
Well, if not, I really do think that you can do Huntley in a 3 for a 2.
I think that's
I would slab that.
I think
slab.
That's the trade.
See you, Huntley.
Yeah, I agree.
But there is a lot of there's a lot of optimism around Huntley. If you were to poll people, who's the best handcuff quarterback, a lot of people are going to be saying Huntley.
I don't think it's just because of Huntley, though. I think a lot of people are worried about that Lamar situation long term, like in a year or two. Is he still going to be on the Ravens?
God, we're not getting into this. All right, Zonovan Knight.
No, listen. I don't want to get into it. I'm just saying that is some of. I don't agree with
Lounis.
I don't agree with
Lounis. They're not going to roll out.
I didn't say I agree with it. I'm saying that I think it's wrong. I'm saying that is some of the thinking with it.
That's some of the thinking that you do because you're contract Lounis.
I listen. I just said I would do the Huntley. I just said I would do the Huntley in a third for a second.
Yeah,
I agreed with you.
That is true.
Yeah. All right. Zonovan Knight, Jets backup running back. Michael Carter's still going to be out, right?
I also think Michael Carter's not.
Okay. Michael Carter's kind of.
No, Michael Carter's solid, but Zonovan's.
I think
playing well.
He's worth. I mean, by this point, he's definitely on like everyone's roster. But he's worth a roster spot. I don't think he's worth a draft pick.
Well, so that was the question I was going to get into. Contenders. Is this I guess the first question to ask is actually, can Zonovan Knight have any relevance after this year? And in terms of being a high value backup for a team, kind of like what we saw with Donta Foreman coming back, was a high value backup. And if he's able to land a starting job, bada bing, bada boom, you're chilling. So if you give up a third round pick for him now, which I agree doesn't look amazing on paper, and I would probably more times than not side with the guy getting the third. But if you think he's good enough so that after this season, when he's either on the Jets or not on the Jets or whatever, if whoever the starters gets hurt, he comes back and can be a high value handcuff. Because at that point, I think giving up the third for a playoff push plus handcuff value is actually worth it.
I agree, but the thing, Michael Carter is still under contract for 2 more years. So I think if this.
What's James Robinson's contract situation?
James Robinson's cooked.
He's out after this
I think he's cooked.
He's been.
I'm just curious.
He was an undrafted free agent, so I'm not sure.
Year.
I think he is a free agent after this season. But
see you, Lounis. All right, so he's going to say something about Michael Carter being
contract
good.
Lounis.
The thing is, though, if Michael Carter and Zonovan Knight are playing, has Zonovan Knight? He's probably at least earned the right to split snaps. Is he going to be leading that backfield even when Carter is back?
No.
He might. I just don't know how intrigued I am at like it's such a if you're in the playoffs, right? Are you going to feel any comfortable playing either of those running backs, even as your last ditch flex play?
People are getting way too cute on Zonovan Knight. The kid's had a few good games. I'll give him credit, but Michael Carter is the handcuff to Breece Hall, and Breece Hall is coming back. This offense does not have room for another running back taking snaps, getting touches. There's no to me, it just, if I could sell him for anything, it's great. I picked him up off for Fab, and I turned it into a third-round pick. Are you kidding? Absolutely. Smash, accept it every single time. There's no way he's relevant for maybe more than 2 games this season.
Truthfully, the only person I can think of is James Robinson, who has done something.
Yeah, I wanted to see if I could get one of you guys to buy into Zonovan Knight for all those reasons. But
were you trying to double advocate us here?
Yeah. No, ultimately, yeah, I would be mass offering.
Well, wait, hold on. I don't know if Lounis is tuned in, but we could all play this on Lounis and be like, yeah, Zonovan Knight's really good, and see if Lounis buys into it.
No, because then we're going to have to hear Lounis say the same thing 3 times.
I'm fine with it. We'll just move on. Are we good to just go into the stock market and pick Lounis up when he gets back?
Stocks.
We're going to all be... Yeah, we're all going to be in bad spots.
The wrong boxes.
Hold on. Yeah, I got to also pull it up.
That's fine. I mean, after the week I had, I'm cool being someone else.
12-6. Man, we're already almost done with the season. Also, when do we end this? Like, when is the end?
I don't know. It kind of just kept going.
All
We're
right,
getting close to a year. I think we started in March.
So, big winner, fucking Lounis.
This has gone so wrong. This has gone so wrong because
right?
Lounis wins. Yeah, I updated it. Lounis wins.
No, his total change isn't right.
Oh, did I not edit it?
His total change box is wrong.
Oh, yes, you're right. Update that real quick.
Come on, baby. Let's see a downfall. Come on. Let's see a negative.
And
we're looking at this box right here.
But it's
hell yeah.
Positive.
Let's go. Let's go. Screw you, Lounis.
Is Frank's total correct or his change? 900?
Yeah, don't question it.
Yeah, it looks correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct.
Hold on. Let me get you back in here, Lounis. Let me hide that. Okay. And Lounis is back.
Welcome back, Lounis.
God, this is hard to get back on the screen. Where is it?
I had a bad week. I've given up.
All right.
Yeah, you're bad.
I was the big winner this week. Up 940. Jake up 479. Lounis up 468. JT down 146. Lounis is unfortunately still has a commanding lead of about 5K. I'm in second at 4,500 or 45K. Jake at about 40K and JT at 37, 38, somewhere around there. All right, let's just get right into this shit. Let's get right into it.
I went in on the Browns the offense against the Texans, and somehow that went poorly. I can't do anything right. Like, how are the Browns not scoring a bunch of points on the Texans? I don't know.
Because that was the defense's job this week, apparently.
Yeah.
For the Browns.
Yeah. All right, so I could do my sells because I'm selling a lot of people right now.
All right, who you got, JT?
Okay, gonna kick it off with Kareem Hunt. Again, Browns.
See, I like what I saw out of Kareem Hunt. He got his most touches since like week 6.
No, I thought it was good too, but again, it was the Texans. It's the Texans, and now we don't have the Texans, so
the offense didn't score.
Now the Texans aren't there anymore, so,
now I don't know what to do. Sticking with that theme, I'm going to keep Deshaun Watson because I still think he's undervalued despite having a rusty performance. I'm going to get rid of Amari Cooper. I'm going to hold Garrett Wilson. I'm going to hold Noah Fant. I'm going to sell Paris Campbell because that Colts offense, I don't know what to say. Now here's the thing. There's like 6 teams on bye this week, so maybe I might want to sell some bye players, but I don't think any of those remaining guys are on bye. Yeah, it's Atlanta, Chicago, Green Bay, Indy, New Orleans, and Washington. So no. So I think those are, oh no, I'm selling OBJ because apparently a report came out that the Cowboys didn't like his ACL.
Giants didn't either. So yeah,
I saw that.
Yeah. So I'm gonna sell OBJ.
Odell.
Okay.
You can
I think we're all
too.
Yeah, we're all out on Odell.
All right, so I sold 1, 2, 3, 4 players there. All right, so those are my sells.
All right,
we all had Odell.
Quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. I'm gonna sell AJ Brown. Kind of just picked him up for a good matchup last week against the Titans.
And boy, was that good.
I'm gonna sell Deshaun. Just don't really want to be on him. Same thing with Jameson Williams. I really thought they were going to kind of unleash him last week, but I'm scared.
Gunner.
He played 6 snaps. 4 of them were running plays.
Yeah, if they're going to do this fucking Weasley bullshit and back in, I feel like a lot of people there's a lot of potential for panic considering I think his price is kind of inflated a bit as is. He went up 100 from last week.
I was gonna say though,
literally
is there
just playing.
Is there panic because he went up 100?
Dude,
is there panic
I
if
do
he
not
doesn't get a ton of snaps?
I just see them weaseling his way back in. Right, he gets like 3 targets one game and then 4 targets the next game, and it's like, well, I thought you were just gonna unleash him, right? My vision was not right. It was the opposite. I thought he was going to go in there and I was going to see him on red zone running into the end zone over and over and over again. And I didn't see any of that. So I'm out.
Post first game back with 6 snaps. You can sell him.
I'm also going to sell AJ Dillon.
He's cooked.
Actually got a lot of touches last week because of
he's been getting
Aaron Jones' injury. But yeah, they were playing the Bears. So that's why I was in and out. That's all my sells for now.
I could do some sells. I'm gonna sell Keenan Allen. He's been back for 2 weeks. He's looked fine. I think this is just where his value is at this point, just because of how old he is.
All right, I think you convinced me. I'll join you on that.
I have a question: is Purdy embargoed?
Yeah,
he's probably not enough to get.
He's 1,500.
I think him and Baker are just auto embargoes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure.
I should have. How many weeks ago did I say I wanted to buy Baker? Was that last week when I was like, fool me once, blah, blah?
No, if you want to buy Baker, you can buy him.
I don't even know if he's above 1,000, to be honest.
Yeah, I was gonna say Baker. we shouldn't disallow JT from buying Baker. I am all for JT buying Baker.
He's
all right. JT can buy Baker.
Right,
you can buy Baker.
He's over 1,000. He's
you
at
can buy
1,000 exactly.
I will allow anyone who wants to buy Baker.
I'm buying him. I'm doing it, boys.
Go ahead.
Biggest mistake when he's
got a ton of weapons around him.
All right, I'm selling Keenan Allen and buying Baker Mayfield. When he is next to Justin Herbert next week, in terms of overall value, I'll be telling all you mean things.
Yeah,
I wasn't gonna say the mean. I almost said the mean things, but I didn't.
I'm excited for it. What place are you in?
Don't worry about that. Worry about yourself, Lance. All right.
All right. Well, to get back on track, I'm gonna sell Ezekiel Elliott as well. I got a nice boost from Zeke. I also think he's just where he's at this point. I'm gonna hold Swift. I'm gonna hold Watson. I'm going to hold Pickens. I like that he showed some attitude on the sidelines. He wants the fucking ball.
What about his actual fancy output?
He wants the ball, JT. You got to be hungry for the ball.
Breaking wide receiver wants the ball.
He wants it. Cam Akers. I'm going to hold Cam Akers because I think he's going to...
Yeah, I'm blaming on. They're playing Las Vegas.
Yeah, definitely holding Cam Akers. Will Fuller. Dude's gonna sign somewhere. Holding strong.
Dude, you don't want to cash out on the 148 total points. You got to boost to 14.
I'm gonna hold. Who do the Steelers play this week, Frank?
Ravens.
Yeah, the Lamar-less Ravens.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold.
Can I buy Steelers defense?
And Bengals, Browns. I'm gonna hold Kareem Hunt as well. So I'm done.
Okay. That leaves Lounis for your sells.
Yeah. Okay. For my moves, I will do. Let me pull it up. Okay. I will sell Isaiah Likely. It's gonna be hard
Likely
to
sell
that backup quarterback. I'll sell Josh Jacobs.
He's so high right now. Jeez.
I know. Terry McLaurin's on bye, so I'll sell him.
He's winning the bye week, though.
I think that's it for right now.
Wow, that was a quiet week for you.
I don't want to move a lot of these guys. I think Garrett Wilson's still without Zach. He's going to continue to produce.
Yeah, I'm in on Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, he's been going crazy. T Higgins, I might sell T Higgins. He's the only one. And for right now, I'll hold. But if I find someone who I want to get, I might sell Higgins.
Okay.
Who's kicking off the buys?
all right, maybe me. I'm thinking of one specific player that I kind of want to get in on, but I don't know how far he's dropped. Okay. That's a decent amount. I think I'll get in on him right now. I'm going to buy Joe Mixon. I think he's going to come back from this concussion this week. I think he's going to torch.
That's the wrong team.
Yeah, I put him in there. So I'm going to buy Joe Mixon. Bought Baker Mayfield already. I'm looking around the league too. I'm not going to buy.
Is Mike Williams back this week?
Who knows? Is he ever back?
I don't know. I'm not going to touch him. Fuck that.
This is another instance of like, do I buy the bait? I mean, like, how much further can he possibly go down? And I'm talking about Russell Wilson here.
Look, don't do this to yourself, man.
Dude, he's lower than Tyler Boyd. he's under Michael Carter.
How many points does he put
up? He's under Elijah Mitchell. Like, look at all. Like,
how many points
I know, but he's a quarterback. He's a living, breathing quarterback who is under Alan Lazard. Like, he's under all Chase Claypool. Jake, I will trade you right now, Chase Claypool for Russell Wilson. Is that a deal?
No.
Thank you. All right. So he's undervalued. It's just I don't know when people are going to change their mind on him. I don't know how or why, but I'm going to buy Russell Wilson. Like the madness has to stop somewhere.
Stop this madness.
I refuse to believe that there are these non-difference making players who are ranked so highly above a quarterback who has stability and like, I don't know, even if he's trash, he's still a quarterback. He's still like Taylor Heineke goes for seconds at some point. Like I can't wrap my mind around it. So every time I'm going to take the bait and I'm going to fall for it. All right. I have how much left in the bank? 6,400. I'm looking at like, I feel like running back's the easiest place to get like a big boost if I'm swinging for the fences, which I kind of need to if I'm playing you guys. The Chargers' defensive line stinks, and they're playing Miami. Do I get like Raheem? No, do I get Jeff? Who's this lead Miami back? It's Raheem.
That's why I'm not touching either.
I don't know. Yeah.
Jeff Wilson barely got any points last week.
Yeah, that's why I'm.
He had one carry.
Yeah, your best guess is as good as mine. I guess.
Yeah,
like,
I mean it's a swing for the fence play.
I've got a big laundry list of buys.
All right, you go through those, and I'll.
My first buy. Let me get this over here. My first buy is going to be Jerry Jeudy. Kind of talked on the pod last week about why I want to buy Jeudy. The second buy I have is going to be J.K. Dobbins. I actually think that he comes back this week.
Welcome aboard the train.
He's one of my buys that I wrote down.
So J.K. Dobbins has kind of had success against the Steelers before. If he's back, I could definitely see him finding the end zone. And similarly, I'm going to buy Brian Robinson.
Big hat, man.
Yeah, big hat. Actually, the Washington Commanders running game is kind of undervalued if you look at keep trade cut for a team with such an emphasis on trying to run the ball. So between him and Gibson, I just feel like value for cost in terms of production, more specifically Brian Robinson, especially as a rookie back, is being pretty underpriced right now.
Oh, I remember who I wanted to buy.
Frank, do you have any other buys off the top of your head?
Oh, yeah. Michael Gallup is another one of my buys, kind of piggybacking off of the potentially no Odell news, as well as it seems like he's been playing a little bit better recently. I think that finally we can start seeing the Gallup that we saw parts of last year. I'm going to buy Darren Waller.
You're taking all my fucking buys.
Apparently, he might come back pretty soon here.
He is coming back.
I don't think he'll be completely shut down. So, at a guy that's worth about a mid-second, I just simply think for a dude that has easy top 5 tight end upside when he's playing, I'll buy him. I'm gonna buy Corey Davis. He's kind of come in and taken the number 2 spot at the receiver spot in New York. Well, everyone thinks, and it's priced that it's Elijah Moore that's the number 2 receiver. I think that when you watch this offense, it's clearly Corey Davis is a guy, and not only that, he's the type of dude that can command potentially more targets than anyone else. Right? Obviously, we've seen Garrett Wilson pop off, and rightfully so. He's probably the most talented. But we've seen Corey Davis command 10-plus targets, and especially if defenses decide to key in on stopping Garrett Wilson, then that might even open it up further for Corey Davis. That's a potentially good contender buy. Jot that one down your notes and smoke it for your leagues. How many points do I have left? We got 4,600 left.
Mm-hmm.
Shit, I have so many other buys that I want to do. I'll buy. I want to buy Akers, Njoku, Johnson. I can't afford them all, though.
Well, Njoku was my first buy of the day, so I'm going to just put that one in.
Yeah, I'm going to go right there with you, Jake. Let's go in on Njoku together. We're David Njoku truthers.
Mm-hmm.
To me, Njoku is the type of dude that no matter what people want to admit, and I understand it's not flashy, but for how he has played this season, he should be probably worth the same as like Goddard, which is that late first-round pick.
Speaking of Goddard is my next buy of the week.
I can't go as high as Goddard, but I am high on Njoku.
Like, I feel like Njoku should be worth the first. Now, I'm not trading any of my first for him, so I'm definitely a fraud. But I feel like he should be worth the first. Like,
I'd like to sell for a first, but I would never pay a first for him.
Yeah, listen, you're not getting any of my fucking first. Fuck you. But
no, I mean, I like Njoku. I agree with everything you said, except I think Goddard's a little bit ambitious, but I'm high on Njoku.
Njoku looks like insane this year. He looks like the player that he was drafted to be finally.
He looks great. No, I'm an Njoku fan.
I'm not sure my bank is going down.
I'd pay a good second for him, not a first.
No, that's the right amount.
JT, you get me buying Mr. Dallas Goedert as well?
Yep. You should be at 1422, Frank.
I was considering Goddard.
Yeah, there we go.
He's going to be back soon.
So I got 2450 left.
Is someone able to look up on the sheet the prices of Van Jefferson, Heineke, and Juwan Johnson, if any of them are under 1422?
If any of them are under 1422?
Van Jefferson, 1700. Tyler Heineke's 1894. And Juwan Johnson, 1694. So no.
Son of a. All right, I'm done for the week then.
And then my last buy, I guess I'm going tight ends this week, but my last buy.
Tight end gamer.
Yeah, the last tight end merchant over here.
Tight end merchant.
I'm buying Daniel Bellinger. He's back. He got 5 targets this week.
Oh.
And I think Giants just like to use their tight end in this offense.
No, I think it's a great buy. I thought he was out for longer. I didn't realize he was back.
I didn't even know he was back.
Now, do they like to use the tight end, or are their receivers fucking horrible?
I mean, it's a combination of that. Also, the horrible receivers are going to be up against Darius Slay and James Bradbury, so their chances are probably better with the tight end.
They like to use their tight end though.
It's like when you got Richie James up against Darius Slay. I don't know if you love your odds on that one.
Mm-hmm.
You act like Darius Slay's going to even bother to follow him across the field. He's lining up on the same side of the field every time and being like, "Oh, he's here now."
Yeah, he's not following anyone.
But yeah, I mean, Dayball likes to use the tight end. We saw Dawson Knox be successful in that offense. So I just think overall, Dayball likes to use the tight end. And I think the Giants are going to have some problems getting receivers open this week. So he might get some dump off passes here.
I think Bellinger's a great buy. I didn't have him on my list
How
originally.
is that team over 500 with that clown fiesta of a fucking offense?
Danny Dimes, baby.
That's there were like 5 answers, and you didn't say any of them.
Dude, Daniel Jones has been playing really well, though.
He's quarterback 11 on the year. People act like he's having a bad year. He's a QB1.
Saquon Barkley, good defense, good coaching. Daniel Jones was like 19th on the list.
Daniel Jones is not.
Can't wait for Will Levi to be my quarterback and hate my life every
Oh my God. No, Lappy's the biggest Anthony Richardson hater. I cannot wait for him to end up a Giant.
No,
and I'm actually going to kind of be scared because I think Babel would turn him like to a really good quarterback. So I'm actually low-key rooting for him not to be because I don't want him in the division. But that'd be funny. Is that your last buy?
Yeah, I have 143 left. So yeah.
Okay. My first buy, I'm a believer in him. I know everyone else hates him. I didn't like him at all pre-draft, but you know what? At some point, I'm impressed by his on-field play. Rachaad White. I know he just had a good week. I'm going to keep on adding to the hype. I think he's just going to take more and more snaps of that backfield. So I'm in on Rachaad White. I know his price is high. I think he can get even. How did he go down 48 this week? But whatever. Who else do I have? Similar to Frank, I have Darren Waller as one of my buys. His value has plummeted this year. I mean, deservedly so. He's missed a lot of the season, but
he's also like 30.
I mean,
when
he's Travis Kelce's what 35, 34.
Yeah, and tight end 1 again.
Yeah, Darren Waller was like a top 3 tight end until he got injured this year.
Yeah, Darren Waller's injured again.
What was I gonna say?
Yeah.
I will take. How much do I have?
72.67.
Okay, sell T. Higgins.
You got it. You got.
I have a few more.
12,980.
Okay, I want Jerick McKinnon.
That's a good one.
He just broke 1,000 finally when he was like 997 the last time I tried to buy him.
How did I spell Jerick McKinnon wrong?
I have no idea.
I don't know, but if he's just over 1,000, I'm just gonna match Linus so he doesn't fuck me.
All right, he is just over 1,000.
How do I spell his name?
1 R in Jarek.
Oh, that's
nice, JT.
There we go. What's he at? Quick 1,028. Yeah. Who else do I like? I like Zeke.
I just sold him.
He's playing the Texans this week, and he's RB31. I kind of like it.
Texans? I didn't think. That game's dumb.
Dude, listen, you could still change and get him back. He's playing Kyle Allen.
It's too late.
Yeah, I know the Tracy Maxey clause.
you could still get him back. I just think the Cowboys are going to blow them out, so there will be a lot of running. How much do I have left?
88.
Okay. Give me Dobbins or Gallup. I'll go Gallup.
Dude, go buy Alec Pierce or something.
Guess who was my next buy? Guess who was my next buy? I swear to God, I had him written down.
Are we sticking with that?
Gallup and then Pierce. Yeah. I still have 2,800 left.
Yeah.
Okay. Give me
buy Daniel Bellinger and go away.
Can I afford him?
Yeah.
Go buy Logan Thomas.
I'll get Bellinger.
There we go.
I was between him or Kate Otten.
Come on, buy Logan Thomas.
I don't want to buy Logan Thomas this week.
Come on, that's a Lounis buy.
They're on buy this week.
I think you're the only person in this segment to have bought Logan Thomas.
He had some good weeks at the beginning of the year.
Multiple times, I'm pretty sure.
Multiple times.
I think if you look at here's the thing though. I think if you look at my total net value, I think I profited off of Logan Thomas throughout the season.
You're a Logan Thomas merchant.
Oh, okay. Listen, but you want to bring up Logan Thomas, but no one wants to bring up Miles Sanders.
You don't have
not right now. His value already went up. He went up from like RB 34 at the start of the year. Now he's 21. He's done it.
Buy high, sell low.
All right, JT, who are your buys?
Hold on, I just think I'm missing something on Lounis's. Probably a sell because I have his bank as negative 3,063. So who did he
you get
sell?
Alec Pierce?
I got a loan.
Yeah, who did you sell for?
T. Higgins. I sold T. Higgins.
T. Higgins.
Yeah, I got you selling. Here's who I have you selling: OBJ, Isaiah Likely, Terry McLaurin,
T. Higgins.
Oh no. Never mind. I had you buying J.K. Dobbins, but you didn't end up buying J.K.
Oh, yeah, I considered him, but I didn't buy him. Yep.
Yeah, okay. That
Okay.
would be what is causing that.
Cool. All right,
Okay.
we're good.
Yeah, now you have 552. All right, yeah. And so in my last two buys, Trey Lance, Jimmy G's now got a broken foot. And
I like the Trey Lance buy. I just wouldn't have done it right now because I don't think
I think now we're gonna get he's coming back from me, like, his recovery is better than expected. Yeah. We're gonna get
if that comes out, that'd be crazy. I hope
Yeah.
that I still really want to see him play.
And then I'm gonna go get myself a tight end, but one that's got a crazy matchup this week, and that's Hunter Henry against the Cardinals. Everyone eats against the Cardinals, and he's super cheap, so I can afford him.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
those are my two buys.
Frank's
All
still
right.
got 1,400 left if he wants one last game.
No,
I
but
thought-
did you
I
get
thought
Jarrett
he
McKinnon?
Not
He got
updated,
McKinnon, which
Yeah.
should have taken 1,000 of that.
Yeah, let me update that. Okay,
Oh,
there we go. And all right, so here are current teams on the screen. Good luck this week, fellers. People who are looking to get a win to be in the playoffs this week or have some sort of crazy scenario happen, good luck. We're all rooting for you.
Except Lunis.
If you're going for a tank, make sure to check if you're in a max points 4 league, and if you are, drop those crappy bench guys that aren't going to do anything long term.
Two defenses or kickers if you're in those.
Yeah, get those max points 4 down for your draft spot. Likewise, if you are in a regular league, maybe you should make the wrong start-sit decision this week. Maybe Gus Edwards is looking like a good start this week.
Quez Watkins.
Yeah. So you're not tanking. You're just thinking of alternate ways to win.
Yeah. My tank job in the second, third, and 20 league unmatched. I've less than half the amount of max points for as the top team in the league. That's just unheard of.
So yeah, that'll
am I
be
the
it
top
for
team in that
Michiro.
league, or am I like
I
second?
think so. Yeah.
You're second.
You're up there.
boo.
I
But
know
yeah,
you're
if
like
you made
top
it this
3.
far, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe. All that stuff really helps us out. Peace out. Have a good one.